Tonal has had a rough 2022, from laying off over 35% of their employees to then shutting down their original studio and getting rid of pretty much all of their original coaches. And while all of this has been concerning, it really hasn't been unprecedented given the current state of the economy and how similar companies like Peloton have been going through similar pains. However, there are some recent developments that sets Tonal apart and why I'm more concerned about them than any other connected fitness company. For one, unlike Peloton, who despite their layoffs is still hiring for various positions that need to be filled, Tonal doesn't seem to be hiring anyone for any position outside of some smaller sales and managerial roles for their stores. Second, the terms of their most recent round of funding that Tonal received in September had a really interesting addition to protect those investors first should Tonal be sold. Third, the Tonal gear store was shut down during all of Black Friday week, which is extremely odd, and it still continues to be closed. And fourth, perhaps most worrying of all, is a new lawsuit brought against Tonal by Foxconn, who is their primary manufacturer, and they're suing them for having stopped paying their bills. So we're going to really break all of this down so you can get a really good sense of what exactly is going on with Tonal, as well as why I'm concerned and why you may need to be concerned as well, especially considering that Tonal's machines currently lose a majority of their functionality without access to their live subscription service. This is Colin with Connect the Watts, and if you want to stay up to date with the latest in connected fitness tech, make sure to subscribe. So, quick recap, everything leading up to right now. Tonal, similar to Peloton, saw unprecedented growth during the pandemic, and similar to Peloton, massively overestimated the possibility that those sales would continue once things got back to normal. Now, they didn't go as crazy as Peloton did, who bought and was creating their own manufacturing plants, and they made so many bikes that they can't get rid of them fast enough, and so have sort of been forced to drop their price, which we've seen them do several times now, as well as rent them out and sell them through third parties like Amazon. But Tonal did overestimate, and not only did they have to cut 35% of their workforce, but since they were committed to opening a brand new studio in New York, they ended up having to close their original one alongside all of their original coaches and just start fresh with new ones. And if you're a member of Tonal, I'm curious to see how you feel about having all of those old coaches replaced with new ones so quickly, because I know if this same scenario had played out on Peloton, it would be beyond my comprehension just how angry those Peloton fans would get. Anyways, these layoffs aren't by themselves unusual because, like I mentioned, we're seeing a huge number of layoffs like this across many tech companies right now. But what I did find odd about Tonal is that usually when a large company lays people off, they still need to hire people for various positions, as some people they didn't want to leave or in other areas of the company that needed improvement. So even with these huge layoffs for Peloton, for example, you can see that they have quite a few positions available that they are looking to fill. Tonal, outside of some smaller managerial and sales positions in their mall stores, doesn't seem to have any. So this was really the first thing that got me thinking like, And so Tonal has never really ever been profitable. And for growing companies like this, you need to be able to raise money. And given the current state of the economy, this is getting harder and harder to do. And in their latest round of funding, there was a new term added that really caught my eye. And that was that this new round of $100 million investment that they received in September, well, it ensures that these most recent investors will be paid first should Tonal be sold, or, for example, if they declare bankruptcy and are forced to sell their assets and our company to pay off their debts. And then last week during Black Friday, which is going to be the biggest week of sales for almost every company, Tonal actually shut down. They shut down their gear store, and it's still down the week after Black Friday. And now you can still buy a Tonal, and the online store was just more for apparel and things like that, so not the biggest deal in the world, but really odd to see that taken down for the Black Friday week for what they are calling a quote scheduled website maintenance. And now most worrisome of all is a new lawsuit taken against Tonal by their primary manufacturer, Foxconn. So Foxconn, yeah, it's the same company who helps manufacture parts for the iPhone and who is currently having authorities beat their employees that are protesting their work conditions, and that's a whole mess. Well, they are also seeking $5 million from Tonal in unpaid invoices because, according to them, demand for Tonal has plummeted since the pandemic and Tonal has not paid them this amount. And they worked out a deal with Tonal to start making at least $100,000 payments, but Tonal has been trying to delay having to make these payments, and Foxconn is basically saying no. Now, how much should this really worry you? Well, if you're a member, I think enough of this is adding up that I would be a bit worried, especially given the fact that currently, if you don't have a live subscription, the machine not only loses access to classes and programs, which I think is fair and makes sense, but Tonal also takes it further and makes you lose the ability to see your training volume, be able to create custom workouts, use the dynamic weight modes like spotter or chains, or no more weight suggestions, or form feedback, or heart rate tracking, or strength score metrics, or milestones, or progress tracking, or even being able to see any of your workout history. It's just all gone. So essentially, it just becomes a super basic cable machine. Now, worst case scenario, if Tonal did go bankrupt, it's unlikely that this would happen, as somebody would probably buy them, if not to collect on those membership fees. And so I don't really think there's much of a chance that your membership would lose everything, though it is possible that no new classes would be added given such a scenario happened. But it definitely is not looking good for Tonal, and the news for them seems to be getting worse with each passing day. So if you're thinking about investing into your own Tonal, as nice as they are, and as much as I know people really do enjoy them, I would be a bit cautious until we see at least any sign that some things are getting better. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, this is Colin with Connect the Watts. Appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time.